So this is Caliban Prime, and he looks feckin' cool. Forged in celebration of the all too brief peace between the Arcanes and the Sentients, and his Prime Access just dropped in game. Now he arrives with additional energy and shields, and he is the first Prime in the wild to arrive with a brand new primed weapon called the Vadarya Prime, which is a railgun sniper styled weapon where you have to charge it up in order to release each of its shot. But each shot has a chance to turn enemies into lightning rods that will attract bolts of chain lightning, and they hit seemingly pretty hard. Now this is an unranked version of the rifle shooting in the simulacrum just to test and see how frequently the chain lightnings would actually hit enemies, and it seems to happen quite a lot, so I can't wait to stick multiple forma on this and just see how effective it can be. I do have about 5 mods in it, with Vile Acceleration being one of them, just to give myself a faster charge, but you can expect a full video on this sniper rifle in tomorrow's video. Now he also arrives with the Venato Prime Scythe melee weapon, which has a bit of cool lore attached to it. The normal Venato says it is the limb of an eidolon, but the Prime version says that it belongs, or it's wielded by someone called Sembek Vol after it was donated by a sentient called Your Hatho. So maybe we'll get to meet one of those, or either of them, or both of them, during the old piece whenever that update drops. Now on top of the Prime Access, there is also the Accessory Pack, which has a new Operator and Drifter skin called the Tauron skin to go in line, of course, with the old piece vibe as well, with Caliban Prime. Now these are the relics that you're going to need to farm in order to get your hands on Caliban Prime, and of course his 2 primed weapons, so happy hunting. Now for simple ease of access, and I guess to stop me repeating myself every time there is a Prime Access, let past me explain what is the best way to go about, or the best places to farm these relics as well. Missions like Hepit is a void capture, so it's quick and it drops lith relics. Ukko is another capture that drops both meso relics and neo relics, or if you prefer disruption farming, then Olympus on Mars for meso relics, Ur on Uranus for neo relics, and Apollo on Lua will give you axi relics. Or you could try something like Xini on Eris, which can drop axi relics I think on round 3 or round 4, but not many players like running Xini now. Syndicates can also sell you relic packs for 20k standing, and any of the mining vendors on Scythe, on Fortuna and on Deimos also have relic packs up for sale for standing as well. There is also Teshin, who will sell you relic packs for steel essence. So you have a lot of ways to get the relics that you need. Now, I guess that's pretty much it in terms of showcasing what's on offer with this Prime Access. But unless you're new to Warframe and you have maybe just bought the Caliban Prime Access and you want to know how his abilities work, then I can also let past me explain, since I made a video on that not that long ago. So of course, if you already know this stuff, then you are free to skip it. So his first ability, Razor Gyre, now moves much faster. Each enemy hit will restore 30 health. Any excess health will then overflow into your shields and then overshield. So it is a good way to heal and regenerate your shields, but it also deals Tau damage, and it also spreads Tau status stacks as well, so you can get those stacks much quicker. It does move much faster, and it is quite a nice mobility ability. Now his Sentient Wrath ability, which is his crowd control stomp, hangs enemies up in the air, now locks those enemies in place and stops them from falling out of that hanging in the air if you deal damage to them. This no longer has a cap on the amount of enemies that it will affect, can be cast much faster, it deals Tau damage, and it applies damage vulnerability, not just a Tau status vulnerability, but a damage one as well, which means they will take higher amounts of damage from your weapons or from all sources. With the right power strength, you can get this to 100% bonus damage. It also applies Tau stacks at the same time for additional status vulnerability. Now, Caliban's sentient minions with his lethal progeny, his third ability, now summon all of those sentients at the same time, and they come in 3 different types. The Conculist, which is the melee sentients with the baseball bats beating enemies up like they owe them money. These also mimic your Fusion Strike when you cast it for 50% of its effectiveness, so wherever you're aiming your Fusion Strike, these will also aim it in the same direction. Then there is the Ortholist, which is the ranged artillery sentients, the turrets that have a 100% chance to inflict Tau status effects. And then there is the Sumulist, which is a portal that spawns 6 Shorelist sentients to draw aggro and then regenerate shields as a priority. So the simple way to look at these sentient minions is the melee Conculists are the attack sentients, the turrets are for spreading Tau status but also deal a lot of damage, And the Sumulist is basically the defensive Sentients whose main job it is to keep your shields regenerating and draw aggro away from you. Now the cool thing about these Sentients is that with what is arguably Caliban's best setup right now in the community, where you will subsume Nourish instead of his first ability, his minions will then also spread viral and deal more damage as a result. This leads us up to his fourth ability, which is Fusion Strike. Now the beams of his Fusion Strike now strip defenses as they hit the target. They also hit multiple times for a lot of damage, and of course there is the explosion at the end, which leaves that field of sentient energy on the ground that also strips defenses. So he's got two different defense strips. One if the beams hit the actual targets, and the other is the field of energy that it leaves on the ground. 100% of enemy defenses are gone in 2 seconds. All you need is 200% ability strength needed for that 100% strip. Whether you do that with mods or Molt Augmented, entirely up to you. So now you have a Warframe that amplifies status, strips 100% defenses, has a never-ending supply of shield regeneration, has a 50% damage reduction without having adaptation equipped, can crowd control with Sentient Wrath, and then can blow them up with his Fusion Strike. Like I said, heavy is the Sentient crown. Also, with the Tau status effect making it much easier to apply status to enemies, and then if you add in a companion or a Sentient that amplifies that or spreads status even more with something like Contagious Bond, it is going to make missions even easier and enemies killed even quicker than they already are. Like I said, I will have a video about the sniper rifle tomorrow, as well as his melee weapon the day or two after that. As for my Caliban Prime and how I'm going to go about modding him, I'm just going to mod him the exact same way. I have my normal Caliban modded, which is this. So this is pretty much how my Caliban Prime is going to be modded. I am going to have Summoner's Wrath to increase the damage of his minions. Then Arcane Camisado is also going to increase my ability strength up to 60%. And of course increase their movement speed as well. Theorem Infection is a flex pick. You can use Augment here if you wanted. You could use Arcane Aegis, entirely up to you. But this is going to increase the damage that your minions throw out whenever you stand inside that circle. If you have it maxed out, of course, it's going to go up to 24%. And it's going to stack up to 15 times. So it is quite a significant damage increase. Then I've got Arcane Stretch, because with his Razor Mortar augment for his first ability, it's going to cause your minions to do electric damage, which means it's going to give you energy back. Primed Redirection is just a bit of survivability for extra shields. Prime Flow for more energy. This is also going to give me energy back, like I said. Then I've got Blind Rage for a bonus power strength. Then I've got Prime Continuity for duration, and then I've got 2 Rumble mods to give me a little bit more survivability and of course a bit more power strength as well. I've also got Nourish subsumed instead of Sentient Wrath, which is going to give me viral for my minions, for my Ortholists, which are basically the ranged ones, so that whenever I use Razor Gyre through enemies, it's going to group them all up, put them in the ground in front of my Ortholists, which are then going to bomb them into oblivion, dealing electric damage, dealing viral damage, and basically just being an absolute menace. Now, of course, you don't have to subsume anything onto your Caliban. You can keep Sentient Wrath there if you want to, and not use Nourish, entirely up to the user. So let me know what you think of Caliban Prime, and of course the sniper once you get your hands on it, whether you think they're great or not. Have a great day, have a great week, and as always, thanks for watching.